The first time the woman met her fiancé, she discovered that he was not only a rough-looking countryman, but his hands also kept trembling. Yet she did not reject the marriage. Instead, she made an unexpected request.
Do you think you'll be able to love the baby?
I do.
It turned out she was already pregnant with her boyfriend's child, but Ray did not judge her at all. Because Livy was beautiful and had received a higher education, they held their wedding that very afternoon. It happened so fast that they did not even have time to prepare wedding rings.
I don't have a ring.
I don't need one.
Fine.
Deep down, Livy believed. This mismatched marriage was simply a way to appease her father. As long as she could get back in touch with her boyfriend, her father would no longer see her pregnancy as a disgrace, and she would not have to marry a countryman. But at the time she had no idea that this seemingly dull and unremarkable man would completely change her hopeless life and become her greatest source of comfort for the rest of her life. At dinner, Livy deliberately tried to keep her distance from Ray. She told him she did not know how to cook and was simply a college student who was good at studying. But Ray did not mind. Instead, he took it upon himself to cook. He even took care of the dishes. This left Livy puzzled. She was carrying another man's child, so why would Ray agree to this marriage without hesitation?
When the Reverend come out to see me and told me about your situation, I thought maybe it'd be God's will.
His words left Livy speechless. Ray had actually gone out of his way to make her comfortable there. He bought a new refrigerator, replaced the water heater, and even gave her the biggest room in the house, while he slept in a damp and chilly room himself. Although Ray's thoughtfulness helped Livy lower her guard, whenever night fell, she would still think about the boyfriend who had suddenly disappeared. As she stared at his familiar yet distant face in the photograph, the vows and promises they once made came flooding back. She could not believe he would simply walk away, but the little hope in her heart still outweighed reason. The next morning while Ray was out shopping, Livy secretly entered his room. After taking a quick look around, she discovered that his closet contained nothing but plain work clothes in the same color. It was far too plain for a young man's wardrobe. The only unusual thing was his brother's keepsake in a drawer, a pocket watch that was still ticking. It turned out Ray had a heartbreaking past of his own. His parents had died when he was young, and his only brother had been killed in the war. Back then, to help his brother fulfill his dream of joining the Navy, he chose to stay on the farm and wait for his brother to come home. But in the end, all he received was the devastating news of his brother's death. The guilt of failing to protect his brother became a lifelong burden Ray could never let go of. Footsteps suddenly came from outside. Livy quickly closed the drawer and went outside to greet him. She saw Ray carrying a large bag full of groceries. There was no way to make a phone call from the farm. Livy asked to go into town to call her family. Ray did not hesitate for a second. He immediately drove her into town, wanting to get closer to Livy and find something they could talk about. While waiting for her to make the call, Ray stepped into the library for the first time. Knowing that Livy was interested in archaeology, he bought her some books on the subject. Through the glass window, he watched her slender figure inside the phone booth. He also quietly bought some cookbooks and parenting guides. Meanwhile, Livy called her family to let them know she was safe. But her main goal was to find out what had happened to her boyfriend. She still refused to give up. She stubbornly believed that he simply could not accept the situation yet, and would eventually return to take responsibility for her. But the answers she received were always disappointing. So unwilling to let go, she waited until Ray turned away, and secretly mailed a letter to her boyfriend. And this past she could not let go of, would later become the spark that nearly destroyed her peaceful life. To make Livy's life in the countryside easier, Ray taught her how to drive the old manual truck on the way home. But for Livy, who was used to city life, the heavy clutch and gear shift were not easy to handle. Luckily, Ray was extremely patient. With his repeated guidance, Livy quickly learned how to drive. As she looked at the soothing scenery along the way, Livy finally smiled for the first time since arriving there. The dull country life no longer seemed quite so boring or unbearable. News of Ray's sudden marriage quickly spread throughout the neighborhood. Everyone was incredibly curious. How had this shy and honest man, who would blush just looking at a girl, managed to marry such an educated woman from the city? Two bold neighbors even confronted them about it.
How'd you meet?
I eloped.
We met in Denver.
How romantic. I never knew you traveled to Denver.
Ray did not bother explaining. Instead, he quickly took Livy away. But the neighbors' whispers and pointing still left Livy feeling uncomfortable. Especially as time went by, her belly continued to grow, yet they had only been married for barely a month. The embarrassment made Livy increasingly anxious. Whenever she went out in public, she always hurried along. She was eager to avoid the neighbors' eyes. It seemed she could only feel safe once she was back inside the car. Ray might be simple and honest, but he could still sense Livy's unease. He did not try to comfort her with empty words. Instead, he quietly shielded her from all the embarrassment with the gentlest attitude.
I don't care what people think.
I don't see how you could be immune. People judge, people gossip.
They won't say a thing.
Why is that?
Well, they want the best for us.
Those few simple and sincere words sent waves through Livy's heart. She had never imagined that this seemingly quiet and awkward countryman could possess such wisdom, tenderness, and sense of responsibility. This quiet devotion and unwavering support slowly healed all of her insecurity and anxiety. It also gave her the courage to stay in the countryside and face all the gossip head on.